So thank you, everybody. Good morning or good evening, depending on whichever part of the world you are in. So I'm going to really talk to you about how I learned to become able during the pandemic. Last year, I just returned from my solo trip, a yearly vacation that I take up. And this time it was in the villages of Kutch. When I'd come back after almost a month, it was to the news of the pandemic. Initially, I was just amused. I thought it was just the media exaggerating, and I was sure it would die down. But a few weeks later, we all know that it didn't. The news was continuing, in fact, becoming even more stronger. And then it came to denial. I knew at that point that death that someday is going to visit me. But it was not COVID that was going to be bringing it home. So I lived life as if everything was normal. But it's only when the incessant noise of the traffic in the place where I lived in Bombay started to quiet down and people started to stay at home did I realize that things were really serious. And then came the big announcement, the 21-day lockdown. Now, I'm a loner, live alone. The lockdown in itself didn't really bother me. It's the cook who would not be able to visit me. That was the problem. Now, cooking in itself was not the problem. It's eating what I made that was the problem. There was a time when I did dabble into cooking and I had food poisoned a friend of mine. So you can totally imagine my unwillingness to risk cooking for myself. And yeah, that's a story for another day of how I food poisoned somebody. So anyway, I said, okay, Deepa, you're a positive person. What is the positive you can see from this situation? Of course, I was not really able to eat much of what I was cooking, but I said, oh, okay, I am going to lose weight because my quantity has just shrunk. And so all of that weight that was not going away was going to go down in the 21 days. But the 21 days got extended. And then I knew that I had better well make myself able because friends by now were exhausted sending me food from their homes. And that's when I started to learn to cook. And at this time, things were really becoming quiet outside. But as they were becoming quiet outside, the inner me was becoming stronger and stronger. My inner voice was talking to me. I was listening in to my own voice for the first time. And I realized few things that I have very strong mindsets and blockages. I can do this, I can't do this. I will do this, I don't want to do this, I don't like to do this, I like to do this. So many inner dialogues. That started to quieten down. I didn't like cooking, but hey, today I better cook. And the other thing that I really started realizing was this unpredictability has caused in me a fear that one of my most cherished dreams of becoming an author would not see the day of light. After all, if there was no one going to be there who was going to read my book. And so I said, make yourself able, get into the kitchen, wear the armor, experiment. And that's exactly what I did. Cajoled my tummy, said that everything is going to be okay, told my taste buds, hey, this is temporary, and began to cook. As I began to cook, I realized that the writing process and the cooking were not really different. Dicing the vegetables told me that it's very similar to editing a book. Bringing the right blend and bringing the food to boil was very similar to really bringing the scenes together, the story together, the characters together. And then, of course, the whistle, the final whistle of the cooker, telling me when it was overcooked or undercooked. Exactly how a fiction book needs to be written. Can't be too much, can't be too less. It has to be just right for the readers to read. And today, my book has been served, The Hangover of Choices. Thank you.